Ships are never built to last.
Hello and welcome. I am the Sterling, and today we are playing Anno 1800. So grab a cold one and let's get started. We begin today's episode here on the Diplomatic tab. As you can see, Atto has both a superior military and economic advantage over us. But in this episode, I plan to change this by beginning Operation Iron Nads. Get it? Iron Nads, as in ironclads, like the ship. It's a play on words. Look, never mind. Anyway, what is Iron Nads? Well, the plan is to attack and push him out of the New World, and then stopping him settling there again, cutting him from the vital resources that his empire needs, causing his economy to become unstable, and hopefully weakening his empire and rotting it from the inside out. So while our fleet is on its way to the New World, we need to have a serious talk. Don't worry, you're not in trouble. I'm in trouble. I've been doing the math for Sassenberg, and we have a massive amount of work ahead of us. No, seriously, it's quite daunting if I'm to be honest. For just this whole section here that I've planned out, there will be 11,880 artisans, 10,240 engineers, and about 23,800 investors, give or take. Now that's a lot. To put that in perspective, that's 14 unpowered canneries, or 7 powered. In turn, that means 10 kitchens, 8 cattle farms, and 19 red pepper farms. And that's just for canned goods. Then you have the rest of their needs. That's going to need a massive amount of space, not to mention the electricity and the manpower. But space is the first hurdle we must face. So sadly, the population of Southerly will now have to go. They will need to be moved to Norton Bay, as Southerly will now become purely manufacturing for Sassenberg. And Norton Bay will provide the population, and they'll only produce the needs for their own population. Then there's the sheer amount of ships we're going to need to transport the goods from Southerly to Sassenberg, and even worse, from Southerly to the New World and back. This is going to be a massive, daunting task. So, let's get to work. The plan will be to slowly move the population from Southerly over to Norton Bay. I'm also predicting that we're going to need a larger population of farmers and of workers than we already have at the moment. Because, yes, we have a lot of workers. We've got 1,155 in the spare at the moment. But we've got a tiny amount of production compared to the sheer massive production that we're going to have at the end of this just to feed Sassenberg. Not to mention the amount of production we'll need to feed the worker population. So we're going to need to do it very slowly, bit by bit. It will be sad to see the population here go. I do like this little village, but it's going to be massive on here. But the question is, where are we going to put this population? I believe it's going to take up majority of this island. It's going to be enormous. So I best start planning that out. Okay, so this is the plan for the city I have in mind for Norton Bay. Next, before I start creating any of these buildings, I need to go through my population of farmers and of engineers, do a little bit of math and work out exactly what they need to be producing here to feed themselves. Then I can build this up. At the same time, I can then delete the population I have on Southerly and then delete the production buildings that is feeding that population on Southerly. So then on Southerly, all there will be is my production at the moment that I'm feeding Sassenberg with. There we go. That's the beginning of the harbour down here with all the fisheries. Adequate amount of storage. It's good. Next, I will need 12 schnapps distilleries. So we're going to work that out. And there we go. So we have now conquered all 3 of his known islands here in the New World. We're now sending out our ships to venture into the fog to see if he has any more islands, whilst the rest of my ships are heading up north to be repaired, so I can then go out and mop up all the ships that he's got floating around attacking our transports. Now have a look at this. We have definitely now closed the gap between our military and our economies, between us and Artur. You'll now get to sit back and watch as those gaps rapidly close while his economy starts to crumble in the old world. So there we go. Looking around, it looks like I've basically pushed him now completely out of Cape Tuani. I'm very happy about that. Now we're in the negative a little bit here, which is not good. It's due to the war effort, but
a competitor raised a settlement.
Look at that, he settled another island. Let's go and hit that island. There you go. That was his last warship here in the New World. So all he's got left in here is clippers. That's the potato farms now in. So now we've got distilleries for the snaps. And we've also now got the potatoes to feed those distilleries. Next, we'll need to now start putting in the work clothes. Okay, so that's all the farmers' needs now met on Norton Bay. Now I can start on the workers' needs. There we go, we're back in the green after I've sold off all the excess ships after we've finished the war in the New World.
Ship under attack.
Fleet ready.
Flex the tires.
There we go, we've got a newspaper. Oh, look at that, looking good. Siege is successful. Juicy Island acquired. Juicy Island acquired. Fantastic.
Uncompromising journalism.
We've now added our 2 pig farms, and they will supply our slaughterhouses over here. And there we go. Now we have bread production. Next on the list is soap. That's now soap production under control. Next on the list, and finally, is beer. We're going to need 4 breweries. And there we go. That's beer production done.
Ship under attack.
Atur is desperate to take any island here in the New World. He just keeps taking island after island after island, and I just keep taking them back off him because his economy must be tanking.
Forget art. I want my damned island back. You
go.
will turn
Just taking another one.
majesty into a monstrosity.
Now, sadly, it's time to say goodbye to the population here on Southerly. So let's start deleting. Now we also have to start deleting all their food here, because we're getting into a deficit now. As you can see, we've made a bit of a mess here in Southerly, but there is method in my madness. At the moment, I'm purely just trying to sort out what I need for Sassenberg. And so that's what you see in front of us. And now what I've been doing is going through and just calculating the time it takes for the ships to go from the New World carrying silk and such here to Southerly. And I've worked it out that it's a 32-minute round trip. Now, once I factor in the consumption of the silk here on Southerly by the fur dealer, I work it out that we need 3 ships carrying 100 silk over that 32-minute. So we have done exactly that. We have given that route 3 ships, supplying our fur dealers here. And there we go. We must be on point because there is the fur and it's maxed out. That's what I like to see. What you see in front of you here on Southerly is only what is supplying Sassenberg as it is. It's not what I've put down for the future. This is just Sassenberg right now. So I've started laying out the plans for the future. Here's our slaughterhouses. As you can see, we've got the 3 in operation right now that are supplying Sassenberg's needs at this very moment. But then we have the rest here, the other 4 there, in preparation for Sassenberg's advance. And as Sassenberg grows, we will open up another one. So my next step will be going through and laying down the plans for Southerly and putting down the future for Sassenberg. Now, how Southerly's going to look, I'm not sure. It's going to be very full. We're going to be having a lot of farmland, a lot of animal production, and a lot of industry. This is going to be a very, very busy place. So how empty it looks right now is not how it's going to look in the future. But one thing I do know for certain is that we are now beginning to max out the population here on Norton Bay. We barely have the workforce needed to run the industry and farmland we have on Sassenberg as it is. This island here at Norton Bay is now full. So Norton Bay will not be the only island that we have a population on. We have another island here to which we have named Eastland, or Eastland, however you want to pronounce it. Eastland will become our second population. Once again, very much the same as Norton Bay. It will feed itself, but also the workforce here will be working on Southerly. But there is a very real possibility that this population also will not be enough to work Southerly. And in that case, we will have to start looking for a 3rd island. Now, there are no more islands in Cape Tuani that we do not have that we can put a population on. Woolsford, our other island, is already being used for timber and fur. We do not have room here to be building a population. There is only one more island in Cape Tuani that could be supporting a population. And that is Peace Lake, our allies' island. What does that mean for the future? There is a good possibility that we will need to start a war with them to take this island. Now, if that happens, that means that we will be at war with 2 AIs, and quite possibly 3, because the 3rd AI may join the war because we have broken an alliance. We need to get ourselves into a position where we can fight against 3 AIs in 3 different regions at the same time. That will cost a lot of money. So we really need to upgrade our population in Sassenberg. It is becoming a necessity now to be able to survive. But it's the double-edged sword. Bigger population in Sassenberg, more infrastructure needs to be built. More infrastructure means more population of workforce. More population of workforce means more islands. Vicious cycle. We have definitely closed our gap with Artur in the military and the economy. We have not surpassed him yet, but we are getting close. We are beginning to see signs that his economy isn't that great anymore. His production of ships has slowed down, especially the fact I've been destroying quite a lot of them. He's not been replacing them. I have bought all his seats on Edifex and on his other island, Paragonesque, I think it's pronounced. So that alone would be hurting him. These 2 islands are his main population. This is his main income through tax. And we own all the seats. So a huge chunk is coming our way. So we can now basically play the waiting game. We no longer have to keep attacking him. He no longer has a position in the New World, and he doesn't have one in Cape Tuani. And we can easily defend these locations. And so he will crumble while we thrive. This is a fantastic position to be in. So take one last look at Sassenberg, the way it is now. Because in the very near future, it's going to look very, very different. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.